Today's episode, we are going to talk about how to meal plan to de-stress, lose weight, and eat better.
Your someday starts today. It's time to explore and test the newest science, methods, and trends for creating a life you love with your host, TanyaMFK. Welcome to My Designed Life.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to My Design Life, where we learn and test the latest science, tips, tools, and strategies for you to create your best life every day. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at My Design Life Show and at TanyaMFK. And if watching videos isn't your thing, head over to our My Design Life Show podcast to catch the audio. I'm TanyaMFK, and I am so glad that you are here. My guest today is a woman that has come through an incredibly tough journey to find her strength in motherhood, health, and supporting others. Left by her own mother when she was just 3.5 years old, she was raised in an unpredictable home that was focused more on personal fulfillment than raising a child. Once on her own, she landed a stable career and for the first time was tending to herself. When she married and had her first son, her life went into a spiral that manifested in weight gain, yo-yo dieting, and a general feeling of miserable. It wasn't until she had her second son where she decided enough was enough and began the path to healing her past traumas and taking steps towards what she could control in her life right now, which included stress and health. This took her on a journey of discovery, learning about food, stress, and health and relationships, allowing her to strengthen her body, lose the unhealthy weight, and inspired her to become a certified health coach to support others on their health journey. So please welcome integrative health coach and woman I'm proud to call friend, Miss Debra Iverson. Welcome, Debra.
Welcome to My Designed Life.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Yes. Well, you've come down a rough road, and I believe you know what it's like not to be supported. And I think it's hard for many women, and especially moms, to prioritize their health and the way they feel in their skin for fear of being judged or being conceited or self-absorbed. But loving ourselves enough to give it the right food and exercise it needs is really an act of self-love, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think it's more important to not put that on the back burner. Actually, you're not being the best you if you're not taking care of you. You're not giving them, you're not giving them the best of you because you're not taking care of you. So
yeah. And it's really something that I think we can actually teach our kids and family by example, almost something that we can pass on by learning to take care of ourselves.
correct. Yes. My kids, they know when I wake up in the morning, if I don't get it in before they're up, or if they wake up when I get up, which is early, they know I'm going to get my workout in, and they're used to it now. They don't bother me. It used to be, I'm hungry. And now it's like, okay, I know I can't ask for anything or ask for help until she's done. Like, this is her time.
Yes. Yes. Well, so I love that, right? I love that. And again, I think it's really hard with the expectations for us as women, but of course, definitely as moms as well, that, you need to give all, and there's almost this a strange, like honoring that if you deplete yourself, you're doing all you can. And I think it's a really skewed view.
Right.
Today, with so many people joking about needing to social distance themselves from the fridge while we're in quarantine, and times are really feeling crazier than our normal crazy. I know that you have some tips and tools to allow us to move towards our health while also making it manageable for hectic lifestyles. So go ahead and just take it away.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes. So, obviously meal prepping is very dear to me. And, how I got to this place was, after I had my first son, like you said, I was having a hard time. And then I had my second son. I mean, I went on every diet. I was on no carb before there was keto. I was on Nutrisystem and Weight Watchers, and I would lose the weight and gain more back. Mm-hmm. And it was just a vicious cycle. So I realized that I needed to do something for me after I had my second son. It wasn't right. And I couldn't go to the gym like I used to. I couldn't just pack a bag and go to the gym. And I just realized that I needed to be happy in my skin again. So I found how to meal prep, and all the things that came with it changed my life. It was amazing. So that's why I decided that I needed to become a health coach on top of everything else that I had in my life, because it was time to help me and others. So, just working out at home and meal prepping on Sundays just started to become something that helped me through life. When my son was 3, my older son was 3, he started having really bad allergies. And I didn't understand why he was like sneezing and wheezing. And we went to the doctor and she wanted to put him on Flonase and Claritin. And I started becoming like a granola mama, as they say.
Yeah.
So I was like,
I'm all for granola mamaing.
I did not want to put my son on those medications. And when I said, how long do you think he'll need to be on them? She said, forever. Like,
Oh my gosh.
That's his reality. Everybody has allergies now. So it just scared me that was the reality of our reality now, is that instead of finding out what it is you're allergic to and stop putting that in your body or around your body, just take a pill.
Right. Like, yeah, we can have a whole segment on that. Like that is,
right.
that is,
So,
but it is crazy. Like, why don't we take the time to find out maybe what's causing it, as opposed to the quick fix, which is taking the pill.
Right. And I found a local functioning medical doctor that went and took the blood test, and he pretty much was allergic to everything. And at that point, I was just like, I don't know what to do.
And were you meal prepping at this time already? Or this is before? Okay.
Yeah, this was before. I was just starting on my journey of trying to figure it out. Because what happened was, I realized that I just needed to start little. So I cut out some dairy, and then I cut out the gluten together. And that changed all of our lives in this house. So we felt better. The brain fog went away. The tantrums, you know, they're going to have tantrums, but they were less intense. They were less often. So he started
that alone
better.
I mean, granola mom or not, like, come on ladies, like that should be a reason to like, oh, less tantrums, yeah, we'll go dairy free, we'll go gluten free.
Right. I mean, it's hard because other people who are used to feeding your child, or you go to a birthday party, that it's hard.
Yeah.
But we did it, and it changed everything for all of us, and it changed me, and it made me realize how scary our food is, and why it was so important that I meal prepped, because I was really uncomfortable in my body. I was really uncomfortable in my clothes. I'd get up in the morning and I wouldn't want to get dressed. I just want to put on sweats. And I didn't want to feel that way anymore. So I started meal prepping to make it so I wouldn't go through the drive-through anymore, because that's what I would do. I would be so hungry. There's just kind of
convenience.
Right. I was so hungry, or I didn't know what I was going to do for dinner, and I would just go through the drive-through. And I wasn't eating a ton of it, but I was eating more than you should. And really, how much should have zero?
Right? Yeah. Right? Should is a relevant term for sure. Yeah.
So that's when I started meal prepping and going on my health journey that I've gone on. And I work out from home now, and every Sunday is my meal prep day. Sometimes I open a bottle of champagne, sometimes I don't. Just depends on my mood, and it's kind of something I look for. It is something I look forward to every single Sunday. Now, every day, I mean, what day you decide to be your meal prep day is your decision, because everybody's week is different. You know, mine, I work a Monday through Friday job, so that's just what worked best for me. But anyway, so then that's what got me into wanting to be a health coach and help other people. And I know that my meal prepping skills could really help other people on their health journey. So that is why I wanted to meal prep. And for me, to when I started meal prepping, what I had to do was I had to figure out the clean foods that I liked, because you would go on a diet, or you would go on a meal plan that somebody provided you, and you didn't like the vegetables and the fruits that they were giving you or telling you to cook. So I would cook what they would tell me to cook, but I would never eat it because that's not what I like.
Right.
So and then you would make all this food, and then you wouldn't want to eat it. Or you would plan to make this food, you'd cook it, and then you were like, I don't like this. And then you'd reach and find something else. You make a quesadilla or something, right? Because you're like, I don't want that. That's gross. So the first thing you have to do is you have to go through the vegetables and find out which vegetables you like. And if you don't know, I mean, start start trying them out. For me, I realized I kind of grew up on steamed and boiled vegetables. I don't know about you, but those are not good. I like roasted vegetables.
Yes.
So
yes.
I make roasted vegetables almost every single night, and my kids will eat that. They'll eat the vegetables more than they'll eat the meat that I make.
Yes. I love it. Yeah. My 4-year-old's very similar.
Yeah. So, and you got to get started with putting veggies on their plate too. And they might say they don't like it, but just keep putting it on their plate too. So, and your plate, because I know some of us, if our parents catered to us a little bit when we were young, they didn't put the vegetables if we said we didn't like them. And so you don't know if you like vegetables because you don't eat them.
Right. It just wasn't used to being there. And we lead by example. I always joke this was like the benefit for me about growing up extremely poor was that you had to eat whatever was on your plate. That's all there was. So, and my mom used to say, if you don't like it, then you must not be hungry enough. And that was the only option we had. So
I mean, sometimes you didn't like it.
Yeah, it seemed cruel, but honestly, it paid off in the end because there was you just tried anything because if you're hungry enough, you're going to eat it. And there's a lot of truth in that. So yeah, but I know for a lot of us, it's a rough spot for sure with the eating, especially with the kids. And I mean, there's so many level and varying of degrees. I'm sure I've seen the threads. There's plenty of moms are like, I've done this, I've done that. We're not here to debate that, but on a general status, you bringing it in and different varieties and just letting it be there. It's not about forcing. It's just about providing it and the option and the curiosity for them to like, and if they see it enough, they might finally try it. I think that's, all we're saying, to bring it in, and also leading by example. So if you're putting it on their plate and not on yours, that's also something you have to think about because they watch everything. You don't realize how much these little guys are watching. So awesome.
And you can sneak veggies in. You can put it in your spaghetti sauce. You can put it in your smoothie in the morning. I start every morning with a smoothie because that gives me all the fruits and like not really the fruits because I don't do too many fruits in my smoothie, but a lot of veggies, and I blend them, and so I'm getting the fiber like as if I'm eating them, but I don't have to taste them.
Right.
So I start my morning with a smoothie, so that's a great way of sneaking them in as well for you and your children. And then I scrambled eggs or something. Add the veggies in there. That's just my number one tip always to everyone. Add veggies to everything.
Yeah.
And there's veggies out there that won't change the taste of everything you're making, so you won't even realize they're really in there.
Absolutely. Also, even the way you put them in. One of the things I used to do, Mexican, right? So, we're always making bean burritos. And so in the beans, when we cook the beans, I would shred, instead of chunks, I would shred like zucchini. I would shred, like carrots and things, because what'll happen is after they're sitting, because you usually cook beans for a long time, it all starts to get covered by, I do black beans, so it'd be covered, you wouldn't see anything. And it just starts to become part of that, like sauciness. And so you don't taste it at all. And because it's shredded, it's so small, you definitely don't see it. And so I would make burritos and I'd be like, you don't even know there's 12 vegetables in there. Because I'd have onions, but I would shred it. And I used to also, this was when I had more time and I was in my 20s, but when I came home from the grocery store, I didn't meal prep, but I would prep all my food. I had this, for those of you in America, I had this obsession with the fridge at Panda Express, which is a very unhealthy place to go. But if you've ever been there and you can see their fridges in the back, and they have all of their veggies pre-cut in these beautiful glass containers, and you can see them all. And I thought that was so cool. And so I did the same thing. I prepped all my veggies, and I had cut ones and I had shredded ones, and they were in my fridge. So when I was cooking, I didn't have to clean, cut, or anything. I would just be like doing eggs. I'm like, oh, you know what? I have some shredded zucchini. Oh, I have some shredded carrot. And I just throw all the stuff in because it was just a quick, it was like I had my own restaurant. So
that's awesome. That's a great idea.
Having a sous chef already ready. And it took time, but it took one day, my shopping days were crazy because I would come home and I would clean everything and I would shred it. But then they would just lived in my fridge, and there was no excuse. There's no barrier. It was like having a buffet. It was like going to Soup Plantation, and it was already already done. So you're like, why not throw this and this and this? You start getting creative and you're like, why not butternut squash in my random thing? Because you had it ready. And so that was a big difference. But I love the idea of sneaking veggies in. And that goes for all of us, right? That's not just a kid thing, guys. That's for all of us.
Right. I agree. I mean, that's another thing when you grocery shop. I mean, I plan my list. You need to write down everything you're going to buy and don't go down the aisles where you don't need something.
Yes. Yes.
You know, you want to stay on the perimeter, obviously, but if there's something you do need that's on one of those aisles, go down and get that aisle. Don't go down the aisles. Don't go down the cereal aisle.
Yeah, because it shouldn't be on your list anyway. And I know, like for you and I think the idea of the perimeter is so normal, but for those of you who are not sure, like the perimeter of the grocery store, think about any grocery store. I don't care which one it is, from Whole Foods to Ralph's or, you know, Aldi's, whatever country or Lidl, where we are. The perimeter is where the, you know, the fruits, the vegetables, the meats, like things that don't come in a box, things that aren't usually very processed. I mean, the bakery, that might be on the perimeter, so be careful with that one. But, you know, that is always your safest bet as opposed to those middle aisles. Because if you can think about it, those middle aisles are where the soda, the candy, the chips, the, you know, quote, you know, whole grain, whatever in a box, which is, you know, I always tell people, have you ever run through a field of Cheerios? Like you haven't. So whole grain, it's just a marketing term. It means nothing. It's still a process. It's still, you know, a Cheerio. So yeah, that's what she means by the perimeter.
Yes. So you always want to plan what you're going to cook. You know, if you need help, obviously that's where people like me come in to give you a meal plan. But, you got to meal plan it, and you got to make sure that you're making food you like.
Yes,
so you'll eat it.
Which sounds obvious, but it's so true. Like I think some of us, yeah, we try to be like, okay, this is it. I'm going to do it. And I'm just going to eat steamed cabbage all week. I just have to. And then you're not going to because you don't like it.
Right. That's why those diets never work, because it's always a bunch of stuff you don't like or has no flavor, and you get so bored.
Yeah.
But the one thing I will say about meal prepping, for me, it's easier for me to make one meal for my lunch. So I'll make one giant meal, like I was feeding 4 people for dinner, right? And that's what I'm going to have for lunch. It's a brown rice and roasted cauliflower and broccoli. And then I will, you know, grill some chicken or bake some chicken, whatever, put spices on it, right? And I'll slice it all up and I put it in my containers, and I just grab one and warm it up when I'm ready to eat. Now, some people I've heard, they can't eat the same thing every single day. They just can't. They're like, I can't do it. So my suggestion is always to do every other day of that meal and make another meal for the other days.
Okay, right.
Or do some mindset work.
Right.
How bad do you want it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How bad do you want it? Do you want to feel good? Do you want to feel good in your body? Do you want to be lean? Do you want to put on those jeans and feel good every single time?
Yeah.
It's about mindset. You know, you like the food.
Right.
So
the I can't is literally a limiting belief, because you physically can. Like, let's be honest. So yeah, you absolutely can. There's something in your brain that you've told you're not. So you're telling yourself this story and you're going to fulfill this story. So it may sound simple, oversimplistic, but it can be actually that simple of saying, okay, I can do that. Yes, I can do. I'm willing to do it. You can acknowledge you don't like to do it, but stop telling yourself you can't, right? Like this is a mindset shift. I love that. Like wake up call, guys. Like that's what it is.
Put yourself to a higher standard. You know, we put everyone else to a higher standard, but then we always let ourselves off the hook.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And then we're rough on ourselves in other ways. Then we're like talking bad and all this other stuff, but we won't push ourselves when we need to either. So no, that's a good point.
So it's very important. And then the other part of meal prepping, which doesn't seem like it would fit, but it's all the other stuff in your life. Cooking can be like gardening. To me, I put on some music and I start chopping, and everyone wants to come in the kitchen. You know,
like hang out.
To me, cooking is, not everyone's going to love cooking, but try to start doing it and see if you like it, because cooking is important to your life.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
hopefully someone in your household likes to cook. Um, but you know, there's a whole circle of life, and I'll show you what I do with my clients is we go through this circle of life, and we put little dots on where we think we are. And that also helps with your meal prepping, because you got to focus on what you're eating and how you're eating it and what you're meal prepping so that you continue to eat it. And if there's something not aligned in your life, when you're having a stressful moment and you're not dealing with things right, you are going to just forget about what you meal prepped, and you're going to go through the drive-through, or you're going to make that quesadilla because that's what feels more comforting.
Right.
So we got to work on the whole circle of life so that we don't discourage ourselves from going and eating the food that we plan to eat to nourish ourselves, because that's what food is. I feel like we have created this life where food is supposed to be entertainment, and it's fun when food is entertainment, but that's not really what food's meant for.
Right. It is fuel to function, and we're usually
Right.
taking in way too much fuel.
Right.
Or the wrong
Yes.
fuel. Yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah. And
Yes.
another thing too is like our brain is, as Debra's talking to you guys, like, so having to address our whole person, our whole emotions, mental state, where we see ourselves is so important, because our brain is not wired to bring us towards accomplishments. And I know that's going to like feel contradictory for a second, but just hear me out. So your brain is actually not there to like be like, oh, you want to do this great thing? Awesome, let's do it. Your brain functions for survival. It functions to keep you away from pain, right? And because we no longer have the saber-toothed tiger that's coming after us, what we have taught our brain for years and years and years is certain types of pain, which could be a food we don't like. It could be not wanting to work out, not wanting to get up at a certain time. We have told our brain that this is painful and it's uncomfortable. And so our brain goes, this is what we want to, okay, so we want to avoid this. So then you've done this for years. And then one night you're like, that's it. I'm motivated. I'm going to do it different. And you're like, tomorrow I'm waking up at 6 and I'm going to the gym. And then, you know, you're feeling that way. And your brain's like, oh, okay. And the next morning your brain's like, oh, right. Yeah. We don't want to do this. Right. I remember we don't like this. We don't like this.
Right.
And so if you're waiting for how you feel, if you're waiting for like the motivation, if like that can actually be your detriment. So it takes your commitment and a mindset to say, I'm going to do it. And I'm not going to wait till I feel like it. I'm not going to wait till emotions. Like there's a great quote somewhere that talks about, it's better to act our way into the feeling than feel our way into action. So instead of waiting till you feel like it to take action, just like Nike, just do it. And eventually that feeling is going to come. Eventually you'll start to associate and go, you know what, every time I do this, I do like it. And your brain's going to start to go, oh, we do like this. And then you'll have a partner eventually. But right now you don't. So right now your brain is not your partner. It's going to avoid it, try to keep you from what you've told it is pain. So it's really up to you to shift that mindset and try to get everyone else on board, which includes your brain. So just wanted to throw that in there.
I loved it. It was great. Yes, that's so true. I mean, it really, I feel like a lot of life is mindset.
Yes. I mean, it really is our perception.
Everything. Yeah. And
So,
it really, being positive has a way better outcome on life than being negative. So
yes. Yeah. Because if you look at meal prepping and you're like, well, it's too hard, or it takes too much time, or I have to cook so much, then of course you're not going to want to. And if you start to look at it of like, you know, my food's going to be already ready. I'm not going to have to cook. I'm going to have like no dishes this week. You know, hopefully, you know, Debra's telling me I'm going to feel better. You just switch the way you view it. You know, all of the things are still true. Yes, you may not want to cook, but you go, I don't want to cook, but how awesome is going to be that's all going to be ready? How awesome is going to be that's this? So speaking of that, those are really, I think, kind of some of the biggest issues that people have, right? They're like, you've already addressed the eating the same thing. So I think we addressed that pretty well. You can create your own variety or just switch your mindset. It taking too much time. I mean, again, we're talking about like batching, you know, you're taking one day and you're doing all of your meals. So like breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 5 days, 7 days. How does that work?
Yes. So I have a family of 4 and I make breakfast for the 5 days and I make lunches for the 5 days. So for Monday through Friday, and I prep my dinner. So I make dinner every other night. So I make enough for us to have leftovers. So I don't have to cook every night.
Okay.
But I prep the meal. So if it's going to be like a seasoned chicken, I take the chicken out and I put it in a bowl or a Ziploc bag and I put the seasoning on it. I cut and clean all my veggies and put them in containers so that when it's time for dinner, all I have to do is take it out and put it in the oven or put it on the stove or put it on the grill, and it's ready in 10, 15 minutes, depending on how long whatever your cooking takes.
Right. So you like would take that resistance away, like that extra time. It's already been done. It's just, it's like, what is the things in the US, like Blue Ribbon and all those like meals that are already kind of ready.
Those boxes that come in. Yeah.
You're creating your own. Like you're
Yeah.
creating your own, you know, you have it already preset, and I'm sure it's a lot cheaper to do it yourself and you have them ready. So that's awesome.
And I cook really simple because I know that's what my body needs. So, I mean, I do a lean protein and a veggie for dinner. Sometimes I will throw in a rice or a potato, depending on the week. And I don't do it more than once or twice a week. Mm-hmm. And for lunch, most of the time I will put rice in my lunch because I'm usually making some kind of bowl, but I like to do those lettuce wraps too. Those are my favorite.
Yeah, I love that.
You know, breakfast, I do prefer to have my carbs earlier in the day, and I don't eat bread anymore. Like, it's very rare for me to eat bread. I cut it out and I don't crave it. I used to always want bread, and now that I don't eat it that much, I don't crave it at all.
Yeah.
And to me, we need to stop eating so much sugar, and pretty much bread is sugar. So
yeah. And it's a lot of the processed breads for sure, especially, and again, in the US, they have a lot of bread. I'm in Europe, so there's a lot more fresh breads available, but the fresh breads still convert to sugar once they're in your body. So they may not have the added sugar inside, but they're still giving that glycemic spike, you know, like in our insulin, which also cause a whole other host of problems. And so I know that's a big thing for a lot of people, is like, oh, but bread, I love it. And bread. And again, there's a huge mindset thing in there. And I know for myself, I cut out sugar entirely last August. Yeah. And I stopped, I actually stopped fruit for a long time before like I reintroduced it, which I know that people are like, oh gosh, like I was fine with it. So because I wanted to take away all of the sweetness. And that's something that I don't think a lot of people realize, that fruit is great for us. But fruit was seasonal and available in small amounts during the time. It wasn't these huge like fruit bowls. And like you were mentioned earlier with the smoothie, like I have lots of veggies and a little bit of fruit. And that's another thing that people get confused with smoothies. They put so much fruit. They're like, I love smoothies. You're like, yeah, because you created a healthy sugar bomb, like still full of sugar, you know.
Ooh, there goes your sugar.
Yeah, orange juice, you know, even orange juice, like, you know,
don't put orange juice in there.
We weren't meant to drink or eat 8 oranges at once. So when you're having a glass of orange juice, you're like, but it's a fruit. It's not. And again, that's if you got like an actual 100% orange, let alone all the stuff with the other things. So I went completely off of sugar. And it wasn't a huge deal I wasn't a big sugar person, but like bread, that was a big thing. But when I would see things, you know, my husband and my son, you know, we're in Europe, they have these beautiful cafes with gorgeous looking cakes. So they'd always want something. And you'd have this kind of like, oh, it'd be nice. Like just the idea of it, like having a little cake and a coffee felt nice. And then the mindset shift I had is that doesn't serve me. Like, what is it going to do for me? That couple of moments, and it was almost like smoking, like that couple of moments that might feel good for a little bit, literally will do nothing for me. It's not going to help like the body shape I want to be in. It's not going to help my blood spike. There was no benefit. And when I could start looking at it that way, like, oh, that's not going to do anything for me. And like you were talking about, like switching your mindset to seeing it as a fuel, seeing it as the effect of the food, it started to completely change. And the same thing with bread, because I mean, I used to always joke like, oh, I'd be in perfect shape if it wasn't for bread. But I started to learn, and like, so I guess my point is you will watch these feelings that you think are innate, are just in you, and you're going to be so deprived, they will change. You just have to give it a chance. Like now if I have a carrot, I'm like, ooh, that's sweet. And I'm not even kidding. Right? Like you're like, The first time I had a blueberry after cutting off all of it for a while, I was like my cheeks hurt. I was like, oh my God, it's so like, and that's great. Like how amazing that I can have a blueberry, and even plain yogurt, which I don't have that much, but when I do, even plain yogurt, I'm like, oh, this is sweet. This is really sweet. So I'm telling you guys, it can be amazing if you do that. And that was just cutting out for a couple of months and just maintaining it now. Like I still don't do any processed sugar or anything like that, but, it will have fruit occasionally and things, and it's intense. So it will change. Like that's a mindset thing when you're going, oh, I can't do it without bread. Like, first of all, you're using the word can't. So you're fulfilling yourself. You're fulfilling your own destiny by saying that. Like, well, if you can't, then you're right. You can't. There's no more arguing with you.
I know a lot of people who can't, they say they can't live without pasta.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know. I can live without pasta, honestly.
Yeah. Everyone can, actually. Anyone can. It's in your head.
It's a mindset. Yeah. It's like, I guess I figured it out in that way. But yes, sugar is bad for you in so many ways, and it ages us as well. And it's addictive, and and then you get rashes, and that's why you have allergies and all that stuff, you know? So it's really important to cut sugar out, especially additive sugar.
Yes.
You know, fruit, that's okay. You know, if it's a natural sugar, I don't.
Yeah, and you can absolutely do it. Absolutely have fruit. I mean, mine was like, again, more that experiment of like, I'm just going to see what happens when I just don't do any of it. And it sounded crazy. I was like, because I know fruits are good for you, but I was like, I'm going to try this. And it was quite interesting. And even having nuts now, like a walnut, I'm like, that's like a dessert. I'm like, this is nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, your fruit is still good. But again, we have to think about the amount, you know, those like fruit bowls, you know, where you just have a huge serving of that, the huge fruit smoothies, fruit, you know, cold pressed juices. If it's still like 10 fruits, again, you guys are just looking at like sugar bombs. And so there is like a fine line, I think, between, a whole fruit, literally a whole fruit, like an apple, a banana, and then looking at process. Even if process is this healthy, beautiful container of cold pressed juice, it can be deceiving. So you have to keep an eye out for that.
Yes, I agree. And, you know, what can you say about sugar? It's just not good for us.
Yeah, there's nothing that's good for us. So, well, this is amazing. So we can prep, we can, you know, buy the stuff. Now, is it easy? Like, I know you have some meal plans and stuff that make it easier to kind of know how to buy the things kind of in bulk, right? Like knowing how many meals you need because you're spreading it out. I'm just trying to think of like, what are some of the concerns people would have when trying to make sense of this? If they're like, okay, Debra, I believe you, I'm going to suck it up. I'm going to try it. I'm going to find a Sunday. But what do I do? Like, do I need 100 containers? Like, do I need to talk to my family? Like, what do I need? How do I start?
Yes. So I would go on Amazon and get some glass containers with lids. Depending, I mean, right now, no one's really going anywhere. Right. So you can just make it and put it in one big thing and then scoop it out to warm it up. Or I still divvy everything up so that when my husband and I, because we don't eat lunch always on the same time, so we can just grab the container and warm it up, and there you go. You have your lunch. It's so easy. Because otherwise I'm getting like, I'm hungry. What is there to eat? Go to the fridge, grab a container, guys.
Yes. Well, and also I'm sure it helps your portion control as well.
Right. Portion control is important. But so what I do is, I mean, again, don't overbuy. I feel like that happens where you overbuy in your foods. So that's why I would come in and help you. But yes, so I plan the meal. So you want to decide what bowl you want for your lunch. Maybe you want 2 bowls. So, you know, you're going to get a pound of chicken and maybe a pound of steak, and then, you know, cook up a cup of rice. And then you're going to get 2 things of veggies, 1 thing of broccoli, 1 thing of cauliflower, cut it up, roast it. That should make about 6 meals. Wow. 6. So you can even have one on Saturday. I would put 1 in the freezer or 2 in the freezer because it's meat and it doesn't last that long.
Right.
So I usually make 1 meal with meat if you eat meat, and then 1 that's vegetarian, because the vegetarian meal will last longer in the fridge.
Nice. Yeah. We don't need that much meat anyway.
Right. You don't need that much meat. So doing like a stir fry with no meat, you can even add like chickpeas or some garbanzo bean, those same things.
Yeah.
Or edamame.
Lentils, something, yeah.
Some lentils, some nuts, whatever it is. You can make a stir fry with just veggies. I think that's amazing. I don't even need meat in the stir fry.
Absolutely.
So those are the suggestions. Definitely plan what you're going to make and then go with the recipe. If it's just for you, just make it like you're making it for a dinner for 4 or 5 people.
Right.
You don't want to like get like 3 pounds of chicken and then you have all this chicken.
Okay. Right. Like people go and shop like they're juicing, right? They just like fill up this huge cart. You're like, okay, I'm going to need 17 pounds of chicken and 14 heads of broccoli. So don't do that. Don't Costco it.
I mean, you can Costco it if you're planning on putting some in the freezer. For the next week. That's always a good way to budget your money. And then right now with COVID-19 going on, I will tell you, when I go to the store, which is not often, there's plenty of vegetables and fruit, guys. Yeah. Everything else might be gone, but the fruits and vegetables are there.
I noticed that, yeah, with the few places we go, like all the over here, organic is called bio, but it's pronounced bio over here. So all the bio stuff is all there. There's no problem with like the organic produce. All the organic, I was like, well, I guess it's easier for me. I can buy all my organic. I'm not rushing. No one's rushing for that. So that's convenience. Everyone else is stocking up on pasta here. So that's apparently that cures coronavirus is pasta because it's all off the shelves.
Right. There's no pasta.
Yeah.
No bread. You can't find eggs. I can't find eggs. That's the one thing I can't find.
Oh, that would frustrate me. I love eggs, but we have all these farms around here, so we're good on this side. But yeah, so this, like, it's really easy. I mean, that's what I'm hearing, is that this is a lot more accessible than we think.
Yes, we make it harder than it has to be.
Yeah.
We really do. I meal prep the 4 of us. Like I said, I have a family of 4. I prep on Sundays. I'm in here for about 2 hours.
Oh, that's it.
I've been doing this for 4 years, so I might be quick. Quicker than I was in the beginning. I don't think so, but I might be. And I know that when I go over to someone's house and I meal prep with them just to get them started to see, so they can see me in the kitchen and they can see what I'm doing so that they can mimic it for themselves. It does take maybe 3.5 hours because I'm trying to walk people through it. But when it's just me and I got my music on and I start, there you go. I just go. And I'm cooking. I'll cook something in the pressure cooker while something's in the oven, while something's on the stove. I can multitask. If you can't multitask, it might take you a little bit longer. And it also depends on your family size, but it is very doable. It will make your life so much easier, less stress, less dishes, and if you don't like being in the kitchen, you won't have to really be in the kitchen.
Right. Like you just kind of got it all out. Like this is like the, get the pain over with. You went through, you got it all out, and now you don't have to do it for the rest of the week. You're set. So if you really don't like it, you're like, I don't like to. Okay. So do you want to do the thing you don't like every day, or you want to do it once and then not have to do it the rest of the week? Like that sounds a lot more fun to me if I just get it all done at once.
Right. So, and if you get to a point where you get overwhelmed and you get wrapped up in the kids or cleaning your house or working or whatever you're doing, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so hungry. You have something there to just warm up. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to stress about it. And it will make you leaner, and you will sleep better, and you will feel better, and you will have a better attitude. It just changes everything. It doesn't seem like meal prepping would do that, but you're getting good food in your body. So that changes everything.
And you're making the access to it easier, like you said, it's just there. Right. Like your default, that becomes the drive-through, and this drive-through is way healthier, because the drive-through is in your fridge. And so it affects all those things. And I imagine your stress levels and the free time. Like, let's be honest, there's gotta be some free time you gain through that week when, you're popping it in the oven or microwave to heat it up, and then you're just done, you're moving on. And even not just the prepping, but like thinking about what you're going to make. I mean, I know for myself, like that's a lot of time too. Just like, okay, I got this, I got that. Like I have to, then you're actually cooking it and preparing it. Like not having to do that alone would just be great. And the budget, you know, you are maximizing what you're using. Yeah.
People are amazed how much I don't spend. I mean, I don't spend that much for a family of 4, and I provide breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner, dessert, all that.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. So you guys, there's dessert too, right? So there's like, there's healthy desserts as well. I love
there's
that.
Healthy desserts. I got kids. They want dessert after every dinner. I'm telling you.
My kid tries to get it after every meal. A regular thing he calls dessert surprises. And so after every breakfast, he's like, "Can I have a surprise?" We're like, we don't do surprises after breakfast, but he still asks.
So
he's like, maybe once. We're like, no. Where is this coming from? But he tries.
Oh, they try. Yes, for sure.
I love it.
But yes. So.
Well, that's awesome.
Okay.
Well, do you have more or?
I just wanted to say one other thing that is beneficial for meal prepping is the portion control. Mm-hmm. And I also think my way of thinking and what works for me and what I know works for everyone that I've worked with to help them lose weight and get healthy is to eat every 3 to 4 hours. So that's why I love meal prepping so much, is because if I don't have the food prepped every 3 or 4 hours, I'm hungry and I reach for something bad. Mm-hmm. For me as a woman, it just really helps me to constantly keep my blood sugar at the right level. Mm-hmm. So I don't go crazy. And so I stay lean. So that's what helps me. And just, you know, I'm one of those organic mommies too. So, you know, choose organic whenever possible. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That really does help. But if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. But it really does help with your food as well, because all those pesticides and chemicals could, even though you might be cooking great, they could also be messing with your hormones and all that stuff. So
you pay for it one way or the other. You're going to pay for it in your healthcare. You're going to pay for it in the price of the vegetables. So,
but if you're cooking meals and you think you're doing well and you're eating conventional meat and fruits and veggies and milk, and you're getting those added hormones and those added preservatives that the animal or the veggie got when it was growing and being created for you, that might mess with your whole chance of losing the weight too.
Yeah. It creates a whole different host of like potential medical issues, physical issues, you know, again, like you were saying, hormonal issues, which can hold on to the weight. Thyroid can be a big thing. So that's absolutely a good point. And I know, again, a lot of people are like, but the cost. And as I said, you're going to end up paying one way or the other. So if you're not going to pay for the higher quality food, then you're going to pay for it in the medication or the doctor's visits or the pain or fatigue, whatever that can be, that can manifest itself. So one thing, if you absolutely just cannot have access to that, at least try to wash your fruits and vegetables in some vinegar, which has some effect of helping to remove some residue. It's not, again, it's not the end all be all, but it can reduce get rid of some of the residue. So you have to soak it in your sink with some apple cider vinegar and some water. And then of course, after that soaks in there, you need to rinse it because then it's been sitting in it. So you got to rinse it. And that will help at least, again, get some of that off. So if again, you don't have access to it, that is at least one step you can take to have a healthier option for your family. So that's also awesome. So no, I'm glad you brought that up.
I do that with my organic veggies too. So.
You know, me too. We're just those moms, guys. I'm sorry. That's who we are. And I'm sorry, not sorry. You know, that's something that I've looked at my life. And when I was, I'll tell the story really quick. We were in a place last year to get my dream car. And my dream car has always been a specific type of white BMW with a tan interior with sunroof. And that's my big thing. I've always wanted it. And we were in a position finally to need to buy a car and be in a position to get the car that I wanted. And it would have been fine. And my husband was kind of like going, well, I don't know, you know, we like to travel, all these things. And so as I thought about it, I was like, I really was like, oh, it's the car I've always wanted. But I work from home. I literally have no commute. I live in a city that's walkable. Like I'm never in the car. but it was my dream car. And so I ended up making a list called Better Than a BMW. And on that list, I started writing all the things that I would want for my ideal lifestyle. And some of the things that I wrote was getting weekly massages, seeing my chiropractor on a regular basis, buying organic food without having to think twice. I had some other things on there too, right? So all these other little things. And when I started to look at like what that lifestyle would look at, and if that was better than BMW, I'll tell you, I'm not the owner of a BMW right now, but it was actually such a beautiful thing for me to look at and go, you know what, going to buy organic food and not having to think about it. Like, no, we're buying organic, like that's the one we're getting. Cause that feels good to me to know that that is a place, a position I'm in my life, to get massages. Like, and that was really about choosing the priorities, choosing what affected me on a daily basis. Like I could have the car that I wanted and drive it occasionally when I ever left my house, which, whoa, in quarantine, tell me how great that would have been now. Not going anywhere. Or I can have that same amount of money that would last me a very long time to do these other things. And I know, again, that's something that's hard for us to justify, getting massages and that self-care. And
that's self-care. You need that.
And it was absolutely, and I don't regret it. Like, I don't regret it. I love my massages. I mean, I miss them right now, but I love that and being able to afford that. So that's also something to shift in your mindset of, what you think you want versus what you think you need. So I love that you brought that up. So before my last question, can you please tell everyone how they can find you, work with you, and any special offer that you have for them today?
Yes. So you can find me at DebraIverson.com. Should I spell it?
No, we'll have it right down here, guys. So
so DebraIverson.com. I'm on Instagram at Debra Iverson, and I'm also on Facebook as Debra Iverson, and I have a Deb's Health and Fitness business page if you want to check me out there too as well.
Awesome. And I know you do a lot of tips and things like that, and you have some offers, right?
Yes. So if you go to my website, on the first page, there is an offer. You put your email in and you will get my 7-day meal plan for free.
Oh, awesome. Okay. So, and that leads to our next question. So what is something that people can do this week? If they've listened to this whole thing, they got to the end, they're like, okay, I'm going to listen to this lady. I'm going to try this meal prepping. What is something that they can do this week to really make that first step?
Well, they can go to my website and print out the plan.
Yes.
There's a grocery list in there. There's when to eat each meal. You can always mix and match them. But just go to the grocery store if you can, or go through what you already have. Cause
right.
The meal plans that I have provided are pretty simple, just regular simple things that most people have in their house.
Yeah.
But
you didn't have like lamb chops with arugula, pomegranate salad. No. Okay.
No, I'm not that fancy.
Right. I know, it's always something crazy like that. When I see those meal plans, you're like normal, then it gets crazier. And that's like lobster bisque with it. You're like, what? How am I getting this?
Yes. Okay. And I don't want to be in the kitchen that long, guys.
Right.
So go to your fridge, see what meats you have, see what veggies you have, pair that with some rice, and make yourself just lunch or just breakfast and do an egg dish. Even if you just start trying to make one dish this week, so on Sunday, make one dish for the week and see how it goes. See how you feel with just making sure that you have
like breakfast is ready every morning. So like you just tried one thing for 5 days, maybe 4 days if it was too much, and just mini taster meal planning.
Right. Make some muffins, or make an egg casserole. Or you can make yourself some chia pudding or some oatmeal. But yes, so there's so many different options, and just try one thing. Just try one meal.
Just dip your toes.
It'll take you 15 to 20 minutes, maybe 30 at the max, to make that one meal.
Yeah. I mean, heck, like oatmeal, come on. Like you throw in the oatmeal, it's cooking, it's like done. I mean, like oatmeal for a week, I think it's pretty easy to throw together. So
it is, and you can change the flavoring. So one day you can put raisins in it, and the next day you can put apples in it, and you know what I mean? It doesn't have to taste the same every single day.
Oh, that's like the gateway The gateway meal planning. I would say the gateway drug, but it's like the gateway meal planning, guys. Like, I love that. So, so awesome. Well, Debra, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Sharing
thank
all
you
this
so much. It was
info.
so much fun.
No, absolutely. Yes. So you guys go out and get that download from Debra. Start taking action towards your health. Go and see what's in your fridge before you even make it out to the store, especially in these times. See what you can make. And I love that. If you're ready to go gung-ho, like, yes, do it. Maybe if you're on the fence, get a hold of Debra. Like, that's what she's there for, to support you, to guide you, to help you. There's so many different ways to access, help from her free resources to coaching to in-depth programs. And so, I mean, there's so many ways to work with her. So do that. And again, if you're like, well, I want to test it first, try this gateway version, right? This like gateway of coming in and testing it out and just making one to see how that works. And then if again, you're like, that was awesome, I need more, talk to Debra. If you're like, that was hard, talk to Debra. Okay. So go and talk to her.
I'm here.
She is there. She is there to support. And I think as we learned in her story, like that is where her heart is. This is so much more than just, being a health nut. This is where she's really found, I think, that place in her life to support and be supported and to help others on the journey that she never necessarily had. And so I love seeing you flourish like this, Debra. It's amazing.
Thank you.
So you guys, if you get on this, if you're going to try it out, then tag us, let us know. And you can tag us at My Design Life Show and at Deb Iverson, and let us know, and we can support and cheer you on. And as always, you can connect with me at My Design Life Show and at TanyaMFK on Facebook and Instagram, and learn more about our courses, workshops, and coaching at TanyaMFK.com. So if you like this episode, then make sure to subscribe and follow and be notified when our next one is up by clicking that button now. So remember, your someday starts today. Make it the best. I'm TanyaMFK. I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us. You can catch us every week at 1 p.m. EST live on the My Design Life Show Facebook page and on YouTube at the TanyaMFK channel. See how the challenges go by following us on Facebook and Instagram at My Design Life Show and at TanyaMFK. Do you have a method, tip, or hack you'd like to share or explore? Submit to be a guest or suggest a topic by visiting mydesignlife.show.